Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Hôm nay là ngày 19 tháng 10 rồi, đúng không? Chuẩn bị đến ngày 20 tháng 10 thì Tâm xin gửi lời chúc cho tất cả các chị, các mẹ, đúng không ạ? Các bạn nữ, các nữ doanh nhân một ngày 20 tháng 10, ngày phụ nữ Việt Nam sẽ có rất là nhiều xinh đẹp, nhiều hoa, nhiều quà nhé. Hôm nay mình cũng có một cái bó hoa rất là tươi, rất là đẹp luôn, nghe rất là thơm nữa. Bây giờ thì mình sẽ đọc sách. Bây giờ mình còn có một món quà rất là đẹp này nữa. Và bây giờ thì mình sẽ đọc sách. Nhưng hôm nay thì mình sẽ đọc sách hơi khác một chút rồi, nên mình sẽ đọc sách tiếng Anh. Đây là cuốn sách Nghệ thuật đàm phán của bác Donal. Và cuốn sách là The Art of Retail. Đây là giờ mình sẽ học tiếng Anh. Thế thì hôm nay mình sẽ đọc tiếng Anh nhé. Hôm trước này thì mình có đọc cái phần đầu tiên rồi, nhưng mà hôm nay thì mình sẽ đọc lại cho mọi người nghe nhé. Dealing a week in life. I don't do it for the money. I've got enough, much more than I'll ever need. I do it to do it. Deals are my art form. Other people paint beautiful on canvas or write wonderful poetry. I like making deals, preferably big deals. That's how I get my kicks. Most people are surprised by the way I work. I play it very loose. I don't carry a briefcase. I try not to schedule too many meetings. I leave my door open. You can be imaginative or entrepreneurial if you got too much structure. I prefer to come to work each day and just see what develops. There is no typical week in my life. I work most morning very early, around 6, and spend the first hour or so a day reading the morning newspaper. I usually arrive at my office by 9, and I get on the phone. They're running a day with fewer than 50 calls, and often it runs to over 100. In between, I have at least a dozen meetings, and few of them last longer than 15 minutes. I rarely stop for lunch. I leave my office by 6:30, but I frequently make calls from home until midnight. And on weekend long, it never stops, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I try to learn from the past, but I plan for the future by focusing exclusively on the present. That's where the fun is, and if it can be fun, what's the point? Monday, 9 a.m. My first call is to Alan Greenberg on the trading floor at Pearson, a major Wall Street investment banking firm. Alan is the CEO of Pearson. He's been my investment banker for the past 5 years, and he's the best day. 2 weeks ago, we began buying stock in holidays. It was selling in 50s. As of this morning, Alan tells me I owe just over 1 million cents, or slightly more than 4% of the company. The stock closed Friday at $65 a share, mostly Alan says, because it was ER on the street stuff. I've been a big buyer, and there's speculation I am planning a run as a company. The truth is, I'm keeping my option open. I may ultimately go for the control of holiday, which I think is somewhat undervalued. And the Q stock price, I could get control for less than $2 billion. Holiday Land, 3 casino hotels could be worth nearly that much, and the company earns another 300,000 hotel rooms besides. A second option, if the stock price gets high enough, is to sell my stake and take a very nice profits. If I did that today, I've already be up about $7 million. The third possibility is that Holiday may eventually offer to buy back my shares at a premium, simply to get rid of me. If the premium is big enough as well. In any case, I enjoy seeing the lengths to expect management to go reserve what they call their independence, which really just means their jobs. 9:13, Abraham House first called me looking for advice. Abe is a successful real estate developer, but he wants to be a politician. Unfortunately for Abe, he's a far better developer than politician. This fall, Abe tried to run for Lieutenant Governor against Governor Kilmer, hence a candidate. standing accumulates a car fight to get high field the balance of technical grounds, and showing up halfway into the campaign, the culture had fell out. AB knows I'm friendly with the governor, and he wants my advice now on whether he should endorse humor or sweet parties, and in the career opinion. I tell him, it's no contest question, stick with a winner and good guy at that. We set a meeting for Thursday, 10 a.m. I called Dimmer Amos to thank him. Amos has one of the most successful radio shows in the United States on WNBC, and he's been helping to raise money for the Annabelle Health Fund. I'm amazed at how this has snowballed into such a media event. It began last week when I saw a national news report by Tom Brokaw about this adorable little lady from Georgia, Miss Hill, who was trying to save her farm from being foreclosed. Her 67-year-old husband has committed suicide a few weeks earlier, hoping his life insurance would save the farm. We had been in the family for generations, but the insurance process wasn't nearly enough. It was a very sad situation, and I was moved. Here were people who worked very hard and honestly on their lives, only to see its own crumble before them. To me, it seemed wrong. Through NBC, I was put in touch with a wonderful guy from Georgia named Frank Price, who became very involved in trying to help Miss Hill. Frank directed me to the bank that had Miss Hill mortgage. The next morning, I called some vice president on the line. I explained that I was a businessman from New York, and I thought were interested in helping Miss Hill. He told me he was sorry, but that it was very too late. They were going in ocean of the farm, he said, and nothing or no one is going to stop it. That really got me going. I said to the guy, you listen to me. If you do foreclose, I personally bring a lawsuit for murder against you and your bank, on the grounds that you harassed Miss Hill's husband to his death. All of a sudden, the bank officer shouted, very nervous, and said he'd get right back to me. Sometimes it's paid to a little wide. An hour later, I got a call back from the banker, and he said, don't worry, we're going to work it out, Mr. Trump. Mr. Hill and Frank again Price told the media, and the last thing I knew is when this story on the network news. By the end of the week, we raised $400,000. I must a long rate of almost $20,000 by appealing to his listeners. Our Christmas present to Miss Hill and her family. We were scheduled a mortgage burning ceremony for Christmas Eve in atrium of Trump Tower. By then, I'm confident we have raised all the money. I promised Miss Hill that if we haven't, I make up any difference. I tell Amos he's arrested, and I invite him to be my guest one day next week at the tennis match at the US Open. I have a outside post, and I used to go myself almost every day. Now I'm so busy, I mostly just see my friends. 11:15 a.m. Harry User, the commissioner of the United States Football League, cause last month the jury in the antitrust suit we brought against the National Football League jurors that the NFLs were monopolies, but aware only token damage on donors. I already named the better player on my team. The new jury general sides with NFL, but the ruling were ridiculous. We argue about approach we should take. I want to be more aggressive. What worries me? I said to Harry, is that no one is pushing hard enough on an appeal. 12 noon. Gary Schofield's head of the support organization, the Brazils brought a theater course to recommend a woman for a job as an officer administrator. He told me that the woman specifically wants to work for Donald Trump. And I said he crazy, but I'll be happy to see her. We talk a little about the theater business, and I tell Gary I am about to take my kids to see Cats. One of his show for a second time. He asked if I'm getting my ticket to his office. I tell him that I don't like to do that sort of thing. Don't be silly, he says. We have a woman here whose job is handle tickets for our friends. Here her number, don't hesitate to call. It's like gesture from very nice guys. 1:15. Elderly blind man stopped by to discuss the woman drink project. Blind men were housing commissioner under escort. At the time, we forced a loss and even thought I end up beating him in court. I always thought he was bright, and I don't hear it again. People that they have opposed me. I'm just looking to hire the best talent wherever I can find it. Totally have been helping to coordinate the rebuilding of the woman skating rink in the Central Park. I project the city fields so miserably for 7 years. In June, I offered to do the job myself. Now we have a schedule, and Tony tell me that he set up a press conference for Thursday to celebrate the last important step in construction for the Congress. It doesn't sound like much of a news event to me, and I asked him if anyone is likely to show up. He says that at least a dozen news organizations have RSVP'd. Yes. So much for my new judgment. 2 p.m. I get deposed in a lawsuit with a boss against a contractor on Trump Tower. Halfway into the job, we had to fire the company for total incompetency, and we're suing for damage. I had no suit and deposition, but the fact is that if you rise, you got to take a stand, or people will walk all over you. In any case, there's no way I could avoid depositions, even if I never brought a lawsuit myself. Nowadays, if the left is Donald Trump, everyone in the world seems to want to sue you. 3 p.m. I asked Norma my executive assistant and the person who keeps my life organized to bring me lunch, a can of tomato juice. I rarely go out because mostly it's a waste of time. 3:15 p.m. I put in a call to Sir Charlie Kirsten. He's out, and I left a message. He is successful, brilliant, authority, but no one is of my favorites. I'm pretty sure Charlie Kirsten is from Bronx, but he is a very pompous guy and has a tendency to act like royalty. So I called him Sir Charles. Over the weekend, I heard that Lee Iacocca has hired Sir Charles to represent him on a deal in Palm Beach, where Lee and I intend to be partners. Lee has no way of not knowing about my past experience with Sir Charles. A while back, I was in the middle of making a deal with a guy who needs an athlete, and I recommended Sir Charles. The last thing I knew, Sir Charles was recommending to his client that he will make the deal with me. I couldn't believe it. This deal is to buy two condominium towers in the Palm Beach area. I own a house in Palm Beach, a spectacular place called Mar-a-Lago, and one day last winter, when I was down for the weekend, I went out to have lunch with some friends. On the way, a pair of beautiful gleaming white towers caught my eyes. I made a couple of calls It turned out they'd been spilled for about $120 million, and a major New York bank has just foreclosed on developers. The next thing I knew, I was making a deal to buy the project for $40 million. A mutual friend, William Gacy, first mentioned that Lee and I should do real estate deal together. I think he is an extraordinary businessman who had done wonders in turning Kyler around, and I also like him a great deal personally. So one thing led to another, and we began talking about the towers. It's a substantial investment, and I'm not certainly absolutely sure that he wants to go forward. If that's the case, it occurred to me he done the perfect thing by hiring an attorney, and I don't like. And that's precisely when I intend to tell Sir Charles when he calls me back. 3:30 p.m. I called my sister, Mary Ann Perry, to discuss a recent decision in a lawsuit we are contesting in Atlantic City. Mary Ann is a federal court in New Jersey, and her husband John is a talent attorney I have used on many occasions. Can you believe that suits against us? I asked her. Mary Ann is very smart. She obviously knows more about the law than I do, and she's as surprised as I am. I tell her that I've arranged to have all the materials from the case sent to John immediately because I want him to handle the appeal. 4 p.m. I go to our conference room to look at a slide of potential Christmas decoration for the atrium in Chantal. The spectacular 6-story Maple Atrium has become one of the leading tourist attractions in the New York City. More than 100,000 people a week come from all over the world to see it and shop in it, and it's now a symbol of the democratization. That's why I still get involved in detail like what Christmas decoration we should use. I don't want more of what I saw. Finally, I see a huge and magnificent gold west for entrance to the building, and I decide we should use just that. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes it's more. 4:30 p.m. Nicholas, a New Jersey attorney who handles the licensing of both my Atlantic City casinos, going to say here about to leave for Sydney, Australia, to pursue a deal. Considering. He tells me it's a 24-hour flight, and I tell him I'm very glad he's going instead of me. The deal, however, may be worth the cheap. The government of New South Wales is in the middle of choosing a company to build and operate what they envision as the world's largest casino. We are from runner for the dog, and Lick is going over to meet with the key government people. He tells me he called from Australia as soon as he has any news. 5:15 p.m. I called Henry Kenneth, the NBC executive in charge of choosing a news site for network headquarters. We've been counting NBC for more than a year, trying to get them to move to our website site 70S Echo along the Hudson River that I bought a year ago, and on which I another plan to build the world totally building. I know Henry has just been shown our latest plan for the site, and following up, I mentioned that Bloomingdale's is dying to become anchor store in our shopping center, which is in real Brexit. I also tell him that the city seems very excited about our latest plan. Then I say we expect to get our premium approval in the next several months. Cannot state seem enthusiastic before I get off. I also put in plug for NBC locating in office in the world tall lit building. Think about it, I say. It's the ultimate symbol. 5:40. My 9-year-old son Donal called to ask when I be home. I always take calls from my kids, no matter what I'm doing. I have 2 others, Ethan K 6 and Eric 3. And as I get older, being a father gets easier. I adore them all, but I've never been raised as a playing with toy trucks and dolls. Now too, Donnie is beginning to get interested in buildings and real estate and sports, and that's great. I tell Donnie I will be home as soon as I can, but he insists on a time. Perhaps he's got my genius. The kid will take no for an answer. 6:30 p.m. After several more calls, I leave my office and take the elevator upstairs to my apartment in the residential bus of Trump Tower. Of course, I have a tendency to make a few more calls when I get home. It's Tuesday, but I will move to Lake Chapter, and we will back to Tuesday by tomorrow. Okay. So the first one is some cast the elements of the deal. My style of the deal making is quite simple and straightforward. I am very high, and then I just keeping pushing to get what I am after. Sometimes I settle for less than I thought, but in most cases I still end up with what I want. More than anything else, I think deal making is an ability you born with. It in the genius. I will say that egotistically, it's not about being brilliant. It does take a certain intelligence, but mostly it's about instinct. You can take the smartest kid at Wharton, the one who gets straight A's and has 170 IQ, and if he doesn't have the instinct, he'll never be a successful entrepreneur. Moreover, most people who do have the instinct will never recognize that they do, because they don't have the courage or the good fortune to discover their potential. Somewhere out there are a few men with more innate talent as a golf than Rick Ross, a woman with greater ability of tennis than Chris Evans or Martina Navratilova, but they will never lift a club or swing a racket, and therefore will never find out how great they couldn't have been. Instead, they become content to sit and watch a star perform on television. When I look back at the deals I made and the ones I've lost or less past, I see certain common elements. But unlike the real estate evangelists you see all over television these days, I can't promise you that by following the budget I'm about offer you become a millionaire overnight. Unfortunately, life rarely works that way, and more people who try to get rich quick and end up going broke instead. As for those among you who do have the zin, who do have instincts, and who could be highly successful, well, I still hope you won't follow my advice, because that would just make it a much tougher world for me. Think big. I like thinking big. I always have. To me, it's very simple. If you're going to be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. Most people think small because most people are afraid of success, afraid of making decisions, afraid of winning, and that gives people like me a great advantage. My father built low income and middle income buildings in Brooklyn and Queens. But even then, I gravitated to the best location. When I working in Queens, I always wanted Forest Hills, and I grew older, and perhaps with I realized that Forest Hills were great, but Forest Hills isn't 50 in Avenue, and so I began to look toward Manhattan because at a very early age I had a true sense of what I want to do. I wasn't satisfied just to earn a good living. I was looking to make a statement. I was out to build something monumental, something worth a big effort. Plenty of other people could buy and sell little brownstones or build cookie cutter red brick buildings. What attracted me was the challenge of the building spectacular development and on almost 100 acres by the river on the west side of Manhattan, or creating a huge new hotel next to Grand Central Station, Park Avenue on 42th Street. The same sort of challenge is what attracts me to Atlantic City. It's like to build a successful hotel. It's a lot better to build a hotel attached to a huge casino that can earn 50 times than you ever earn renting hotel room. It was talking a whole different order magnitude. On the keys to thinking big is total focus. I think it's almost a cultural leadership, which is a quality I've noticed in many highly successful entrepreneurs that obsessive, that's driven. They are single-minded, and sometimes they are almost mediocre, but it's all challenge into their work, whereas the people are paralyzed by neurosis. The people I'm talking about are actually helped by it. I don't say this change is to a happier life or a better life, but it's great when it comes to getting what you want. This is particularly true in New York real estate, where you are dealing with some sappy, toxic, and most busier people in the world. I happen to love to go up against the guys, and I love to beat them. Okay, so we will move to take the downside, and the upside will take care of itself. People think I'm a gamer. I never game in my life. To me, a gambler is someone who plays slot machines. I prefer to own slot machines. It's a very good business being the house. It's been said that I believe in the power of positive thinking. In fact, I believe in the power of negative thinking. I happen to be very conservative in business. I always go into the deal anticipating the worst. If you plan for the worst, if you can live with the worst, the good thing will always take care of itself. The only time in my life I didn't follow that rule was with USFL. I posed a losing team in a losing nigger on a long shot. It's almost working to do our antitrust suits, but when it didn't, I had no phone back. The point is that you can't be too greedy. If you go for a home run on every pitch, you're also going to strike out or not. I try never to leave myself too exposed, even if it means sometimes setting before triple, a double, or even a rare occasion, a single. One of the best examples I can give is my experience in Atlantic City. Several years ago, I managed to be together in incredible sky on the Broadway. The individual deals I made for myself were contingent on my being able to put together the whole site. Until I achieved that, I didn't have to put up very much money at all. Once I assemble the site. I didn't rush to start construction. That meant I had to pay the carrying charge for a longer period. But before I spent hundreds of millions of dollars and several years on construction, I wanted to make sure I got my camping license. I love time, but I also kept my exposure much lower. When I got my licensing on the Broadway side, Holiday Inns came along and offered to be my butlers. Some people said, "You don't need them. Why give up 50% of your profits?" But Holiday Inns also offered to pay back the money I already had in the deal, to finance all the construction and to guarantee me again use for 5 years. My choice were whether to keep all risk myself and own 100% of casino, or settle for a 50% stake without busting off a deal. It was an easy decision. Baron Hinton, by contrast, took a bolder approach when he built his casino in Atlantic City. In order to get open as quickly as possible, he filed for a license and began construction on a $400 million facility at the same time. But then, 2 months before the hotel was scheduled to open, Hinton was denied a license. He ended up selling to me at the last minute, under a lot of pressure and without a lot of other options. I renamed the facility Trump Castle, and it's now one of the most successful hotel casinos anywhere in the world. Maximize your options. The fourth one is maximize the option. I also protect myself by being flexible. I never get too attached to one deal for one approach. For starters, I keep a lot ball in the air because most deals fall out, no matter how promising they seem at first. In addition, when I make a deal, I always come up with at least a half dozen approaches to making it work, because anything can happen, even to the best laid plans. For example, if I hadn't gotten the approval I wanted for Trump Tower, I could always have built an office tower and justified. If I'd been turned down for license in Atlantic City, I could have sold the site I assembled to another casino operator at a good profit. Perhaps the best example I can give is the first deal I made in Manhattan. I got an option to purchase to the Penn Central Grand Rush at West 31st Street. My original proposal was to build middle-income housing on the site with government finance. Unfortunately, the city began to have financial problems and money for public housing suddenly dried up. I didn't spend a lot of time feeling sorry for myself. Instead, I switched up to my second option and began promoting the site idea for a convention center. It took 2 years of pushing or promoting, but ultimately the city didn't decide my site for the convention center, and that's where it was built. Of course, if they hadn't chosen my site, I would have come up with a third approach. The fifth, know the market. Some people have a sense for the market, and some people don't. Steven Spielberg had his Lee Iacocca and Chrysler had it, and so there just is grand in her way. Donal Allen had it. For the audience he cares about reaching, and so that Sylvester Stone one. As the other of the spectrum, some people criticize the Stone one, but you've got to give him credit. I mean, here's a man who's just 41 years old, and he already creates two of the all-time great characters, Rocky and Rambo. To me, his a diamond is the rough type. I see this purely by instinct. He knows what the public wants and he delivers. I like to think I have that instinct. That's why I don't hide a lot of number crunchers, and I don't trust fancy marketing surveys. I do my own surveys and I draw my own conclusion. I'm a great believer in asking everyone for an opinion before I make a decision. It's a leisure reflect. If I'm thinking of buying a piece of properties, I ask the people who live nearby around the area what they think about school and the crime and the shop. When I'm in another city and I take a cab, I always make it a point to ask the cab driver question. I ask and I ask and I ask until I begin to get a good feeling about something, and that's when I make decision. I have learned much more from conducting my own random surveys than I could ever have learned from the greatest consulting firms. They send a crew of people down from Boston, then in a room in New York, and charge you $100,000 for lengthy study. In the end, it had no conclusion and takes so long to complete that if the deal you were considering were a good one, it will be long gone. They are the people I don't take seriously as critics, except when they stand in the way of my project. In my opinion, they mostly write to impress each other, and they're just assured by fashion and anyone else. One week is their glass towers they are raising to the skies. The next week, they were rediscovered, and they celebrating detail and ornamentation. What very few of them have is any feeling for what the public wants, which is why if their critics ever try to become developers, they terrible failure. Donal is a building the critics were skeptical about before it was built, but with the public obviously like. I'm not talking about the sort of person who inherited money 175 years ago and lived on 84th Street and Park Avenue. I'm talking about wealthy Italian with a beautiful wife and the Ferraris. So people, the audience I would after came to Trump Tower in Europe. The funny thing about Trump Tower is that we ended up getting great architecture reviews. The critic didn't want to review it well because it stood for another thing they didn't like at the time. But in the end, it was such a gorgeous building that they had no choice but to say no. I want to follow my own instincts, but I'm not going to kid you. It's also nice to get good reviews. User never read. User never read. So what thing you can possibly to do in a deal is seem desperate to make it. That make the other guy smell blood and then you dead. The best thing you can do is deal from strength, and never is the biggest strength you can have. Never is having something the other guy want, or better that need, or better of all. And leverage is biggest strength you can have. Leverage is having something the other guy wants, or better than it, or best of all, symbol can't do without. Unfortunately, that isn't always the case, which is why leverage often requires imagination and salesmanship. In other words, you have to convince the other guys it's in his interest to make the deal. Back in 1974, in our efforts to get the city to approve my deal to buy the Commodore Hotel on East 42 and Street, I convinced its owners to go public with the fact that they were planning to close down the hotel. After they made the announcement, I wasn't shy about pointing out to everyone in the city was the disaster what the hotel would be for the Grand Central area and for the entire city. When the post-holiday inns were considering whether to enter into a partnership with me in Atlantic City, they were attracted to my side because they believed my construction was farther along than not any other potential butler. In reality, I wasn't that far along, but I did everything I could, short of going to work as the side myself, to assure them that my casino were particularly finished. My leverage came from confirming an impression they were already predisposed to believe. When I bought the red style rain glass, I didn't name the project Television City by accident, and I didn't choose the name because I think it's pretty. I did it to make a point. Keeping the television network in New York and NBC is particular is something the city very much wants to do. Losing a network to New Jersey would be a psychological and economic disaster. Television don't make deal without it. Okay, we continue. Enhance zone location. Perhaps the most misunderstood concept in all of real estate is that the key to success in location. Location. Usually that said by people who don't know what they're talking about. First of all, you don't necessarily need the best location. What you need is the best deal. Just as you can create leverage, you can enhance a location through promoting and through psychology. When you have 57th Street and 50th Avenue as the location, and I did with Trump Tower, you need less promotion. But even then, I took it a step further by promoting Trump Tower as something almost larger than life. By contrast, Museum Tower 2 block away and built above the Museum of Modern Art was a market well never achieved in Asia and didn't command nearby the price we did at Trump Tower. Location also has a lot to do with fashion. You can take a mediocre location and turn it into something considerably better just by attracting the right people. After Trump Tower, I built Trump Plaza on the side of 3rd Avenue and 61st Street that I were able to purchase very inexpensively. The truth is that 3rd Avenue simple didn't compare with 50th Avenue as a location, but Trump Tower have given a value to the Trump name, and I built a very striking building on 3rd Avenue. Suddenly, we were able to command premium price from very wealthy and successful people who might have chosen Trump Tower if the best apartments hadn't been sold out. Today, 3rd Avenue is very prestigious place to live, and Trump Plaza is great success. My point is that the real money isn't made in real estate by spending the top dollar to buy the best location. You can get killed doing that, just as you can get killed by the best location.
you can get killed doing that, just as you can get killed by in a bad location, even for a no price. What you should never do it pay too much, even if that means walking away from a very good site with your own more sophisticated way of looking at location. Okay, today we will with the page of 56. We will back tomorrow with get the work out and Tuesday. Bye bye.